Here we go. It is the Premier Heating and Air show with my guys, Reed Morton from Premier Heating and Air and Tom Weinrich from American Standard. What's up, boys? What's up, Tom? Good to see you, brother.
Living the dream. How are you
How's
doing,
it
Matt?
going?
Good to see you too, Reed. All right, guys. Hey, come on now, fellas. It's getting hot. That's good,
Finally.
right? Right, Reed? You
We're
like
ready.
the steam, right?
We love it. We're ready.
Yeah. Yeah, Tom, are you good when everything breaks? Everybody's sweating and everybody's miserable in their house. Is that good news for you?
The barn's full, D-Mac. We're ready to ship some product to Premier.
All right, fellas. What should folks know? Some heads up now. I can feel it in my house too. And listen, I love my wife. I'm gonna start every conversation with I love my wife. So I'm starting there. But the open windows and the fans, I'm a creature of comfort, boys. So that air conditioning is about to pop on, no doubt about it, until I'm sweating. You know what I got a problem with? See, I gotta have you guys come over. It's hot spots and cool spots in the house. Sure enough, there's some rooms that are brutally warm and some places that are nice and cool. So when somebody calls you with that issue, Reed, what do you guys check out? What do you look at?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, that's a pretty common issue that we hear about a lot. And there's a lot of different variables you can kind of look at. One thing I would recommend is getting an inspection done from one of our technicians. Just make sure the system's working the way it should. A couple other things, just kind of little pieces of advice that we like to give people. Make sure, use some of those fans like you talked about. Make sure, you don't have any, like, close off any windows, different things like that. Another big one is we always tell people this time of year is change your filter. Like that's probably the most common issue that we run into. So make sure you're checking that filter. They can get pretty dirty. The more that the system's running, those things get pretty dirty. We recommend, about every month or so, take a look at that. And, other than that, I mean, yeah, give us a call and have us come out and check it out.
Yeah, Tom, what would you recommend to people? What would you tell people this time of year, Tom?
Well, I gotta tell you, D-Mac, we get more calls from systems that are just not operating properly. And it really goes back to exactly what Reed was talking about. The fan runs in the winter time at about 75% of what it does in air conditioning mode. And that air conditioning mode just kicks on and that thing runs full blast. So whatever little bits of debris were in there from during the winter time, when everybody had their houses closed up, I mean, all that stuff ends up right in the filter about this time. And it's always on these first hot days. And the next thing we know, the outdoor unit is just shutting down because when the airflow can't pass across that system, it just makes it that much more difficult for that unit outside to run. So yeah, definitely check that filter out and also get somebody out like Premier. They're one of our American Standard dealers here in the market, and get them out there to survey the system, survey your home. It's all about home as a system. And Reed and his guys are awesome at being able to get into a house and really find out what's going on and come up with a solution for anybody and everybody out there.
What damage could happen if you just go from nothing to turning the AC on full blast? Like you just say, oh, I haven't used it. I haven't used it all year. It's got to be okay, right? But what possible damage can be done there, Reed?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of things that can happen. So what happens, like with a dirty filter or a dirty unit, is it ends up having to use a lot more energy to basically produce that cold air. You can run into a lot of other problems. The unit will freeze up. So a lot of those different things, they'll cause issues, and other parts and things like that are going to kind of start to break down. It's basically just having to work a lot harder.
Yeah, and you can get a hold of Premier at premieraircolorado.com, 720-547-8009, 720-547-8009, premieraircolorado.com. And listen, man, filters are cheap though, right, guys? That
Oh, yeah.
doesn't cost you anything, right, Tom? I mean, that's nothing, huh?
Well, and let me add on to a little bit about what Reed was saying there, DMAC. For all of our listeners out there, let's just ask them this question. Would you go from the winter time, and here we are heading into the spring, heading into summer, would you just jump in your car and just head out on a camping trip without getting the oil changed, without getting your filter changed, without getting your tires checked? No, you would never do something like that. So why on earth would we do that to our HVAC system?
Well, I see people who do that all the time. They're by the side of the road. I see them
Exactly.
before I get to Idaho
Exactly.
Springs. Yeah, you see
let's not
them,
be the
right?
guys on the side of the road.
You see people like that all the time. Yeah,
Yeah.
I know it's a great point. You know, get your house, the most important thing you have in your life, right? Aside from your loved ones, of course. But your home, you know, it needs its loving care. And you know, that's great advice. But I would still say, Reed, get Premier out there. And you guys are doing, what are your tune-ups going for right now? I think you got a deal going on that right now, actually.
Yeah. So actually, normally it's $89. But you know, for altitude listeners, we're doing a special for $49. So that's a great offer right there. And then another thing I recommend, a couple things really. So if you're looking for filters, we have everything on our online store. So it kind of makes it quick and easy, ships directly to your house. So it's one less thing you have to worry about. And then another big thing is getting onto one of our memberships. Like that's usually the biggest thing. You know, you get a lot of different discounts, you get priority service, and then we're going to take care of any of that maintenance. We come out twice a year and just kind of put those things on autopilot so you don't have to think about it.
Yeah, I think that's great advice. Just schedule it out. And the things that work well in my life are things I don't have to think about because I'm a dope sometimes and stuff. And thank God, again, good things about my wife is that, you know, she keeps me a little bit better organized. But you guys will at least suggest that to your clients, right? I mean, you'll get them on a schedule that makes sense, correct?
Yeah, exactly. And, you know, it's all, we kind of pre-schedule everything out too. So once you're onto our membership, you don't really have to think about it anymore. We'll call you directly and we'll book those appointments, or you can book online. So we make it really easy to, you know, kind of take care of that stuff.
Yeah, that's premieraircolorado.com. Again, premieraircolorado.com. Tom, how's your house doing these days? What I mean,
My house is
let's talk
doing
from
well.
personal experience, like
Exactly.
mistakes you've made and things you've corrected. Tom, give me a story.
Well, I'm going to tell you, we went through a remodel this last year, DMAC, and remodeled the whole main level, and it looks great. But sure enough, what was going on? My HVAC system wasn't working right. And I went down, and boy, you wouldn't believe what I found in that filtration system. It was just jam-packed. So here I am, a guy in the industry, and didn't pay attention to my own system. So if I can do it, everybody is going to do it. I mean, during COVID and during all these things, I mean, a lot of remodel went on.
Yeah.
And you know, there's a lot of people that updated systems, and they updated carpet, and they updated flooring, and they updated kitchens, and all those different kinds of things. And you want to make sure that if you're going to do something, you want to make sure you get a hold of Reed and the independent dealer of Premier Heating and Air. They're one of our customer care dealers, which is also one of the greatest parts of Premier. Is they were the customer care winner here a few years back. So they beat out every other dealer in the whole United States that sells American Standard. So if you're looking for Premier, Premier is the company to go with.
Reed, what an honor for you guys. How'd that feel winning that award?
Yeah, I mean, that was amazing, you know. I guess all the hard work that we put in paid off. Yeah, it was definitely an honor. You know, we love working with Tom and American Standard, and you know, really kind of, you know, representing that quality and, you know, top of the industry. So yeah, it was definitely an amazing achievement, and you know, we're looking to kind of keep that going.
Okay.
So
Well, I know I would expect that to be the case, as you guys years and years and years, 15 years and running there, Reed, have had incredible service, customer service and satisfaction. There's a reason why Premier has been so successful. And as we've discussed, to reach out is simple to premieraircolorado.com, 720-547-8009. Let's go to Tom for a second. What kind of new devices are going on? What kind of technology is kind of changing the game these days, Tom?
Well, we've got a lot of new changes coming in the HVAC world. Traditionally, we've done in this market, we've been a gas furnace in the basement or in the main level or even up in the attic. And then that was hooked to an air conditioner outside. And so we would use natural gas when we heat our homes all throughout the winter, and then we'd use electricity to run the air conditioner outside. And that's just kind of been a traditional setup. But with the new tax credit and the rebates that are going on through Xcel Energy and the federal government and the state of Colorado, 25C is the code for these rebates and tax credits. So what that does is that gives a tax credit on the state tax bill and the federal tax bill for the consumer if they change out their air conditioner and put in a heat pump. So we don't typically sell heat pumps, or we hadn't in the past sold heat pumps in this market area. But thanks to 25C, Reed and his guys are just over the top with the knowledge on how to work on these things. So what a heat pump does is it runs just like an air conditioner all summer long. You never even notice the difference. It runs just like an air conditioner. Anytime you want cool, you just flip your thermostat and you just turn down the temperature and it runs just like an air conditioner. But what it does differently in the winter time is it runs backwards. I mean, there's some other components within it, but basically that air conditioner runs backwards and it uses electricity to heat. So it's running an air conditioner backwards. So that air that comes out of your registers is actually warm in the winter time.
No kidding.
Yeah.
What kind of a game changer is that, Reed?
it's pretty big. I mean, we've been doing heat pumps for quite a while now. We like to kind of, you know, stay ahead of the game a little bit. But yeah, with all those additional incentives and rebates, which we participate in all those, you know, the local utilities like Xcel and some of those companies are offering those rebates. And, you know, there's, like Tom said, the state and federal credits. So, you know, if you're looking at replacing an AC, it's always good to kind of explore that option. You know, it's very efficient. They work very well. You know, a lot of people didn't think that they really worked that well in like a cold climate like Colorado.
Yeah.
But I know I had a heat pump in my old house, worked perfectly. I know Tom's got heat pumps in his house. So, but yeah, we definitely do quite a few of those, and we're extremely comfortable with them. We know all the ins and outs and how everything works. So it's definitely a good option if you're looking at replacing your AC.
Is a heat pump in addition to something or replacing something?
So you would be just replacing your outdoor unit and you know, all the kind of components with that. So basically, to summarize it up, it's a 2-in-1 system. You know, and most of those are, you don't see a lot of like fully electric, you know, it's like electric cars and gas cars, but most of the systems that we're doing it's kind of like a hybrid type of system. So definitely something to look into, you know, especially if you have, like, a lot of people are getting solar now. You know, it really kind of offsets that a little bit when you combine those two things together.
How popular, Tom, are these heat pumps? What are you seeing? Are people
No.
loving them?
Oh, people are loving the heck out of them. They're just doing wonders because like where Reed's talking, if you're using solar and you're banking all those credits, those solar dollars, why not utilize those dollars to pay for your air conditioning in the summertime and pay your electric bill in the wintertime as well? Because we're what, 300 days of sunshine in Colorado, so it just makes a ton of sense to go ahead and utilize that free electricity that you're getting from your solar panels. I would say up until about 3 years ago, we would sell the occasional heat pump, one every couple of weeks.
Mm-hmm.
Today, we're selling them daily.
Wow.
We have heat pumps rolling out the door. Now, we're not selling nearly as many heat pumps as we do air conditioners, and for some people, heat pump is not where it's at. So we still will support and be able to supply all the air conditioners that you need. But for those people that want to use their tax credits and the rebates through Excel to get a heat pump, they can absolutely get the best heat pump on the market through Premier Heating and Air. We were listed #1 in Consumer Reports for our heat pump, by the way.
That's awesome. And talk to me about the cost here. That's the bottom line, what people care the most about. Ree, maybe I'll start with you. What's the cost and financing options people would have?
Yeah, so I mean, with all the additional incentives, a heat pump is a lot of times the same cost as an AC, or sometimes even a little bit less when you kind of factor in all the different, incentives that are out there. So that's where it becomes, definitely a viable option to explore. As far as financing, we have a lot of really good financing where we can, extend terms out quite a bit. And we also have a lot of 0% interest options that are available as well. 0% is pretty good right now when you're seeing rates up in, 5-10% area or more.
Yeah. It's always it's not a tricky conversation, but you got to factor in, what the expense is compared to what you are going to save. And Tom, that's kind of a bottom line business too. And I guess the conversation starts perhaps like, well, how long are you going to be here in your home? I mean, are you selling it next week, or are you going to be here for the next 10 to 20 years, right, Tom?
Yep, exactly. So if you look at a heat pump in our market today, DMAC, we're paying 11 to 18 cents a kilowatt for our electricity. We're paying roughly 18 to 22 cents a therm for our natural gas. And based upon what we call degree days in the wintertime, which is anything cooler than 50 degrees, is when we typically in Colorado start to heat our homes, is when the outdoor temperature gets below 50. So when we look at the degree days in this market and the electricity rate along with our gas rate, we have what's called a balance point. So the balance point is when it's more economical to heat with electricity with a heat pump than it is to heat with gas with a gas furnace. And so that balance point in this market is around 35 degrees. So that's about where we would swap over, and we would heat with a heat pump from 50 degrees down to about 35. And then below 35 is when we kick into the natural gas and heat with our furnace. So with that being said, if we're going to heat with that between 35 and 50 degrees with a heat pump, that heat pump should pay for itself with the model that Reed sells. That unit should pay for itself in roughly 5 to 7 years.
Okay.
So if you're going to be in your house for 5 to 7 years, you're looking for a new system, and it's always best, DMAC, this is something you should always tell all of your listeners. Don't replace just the air conditioner or just the heat pump. You're always best to have a match system. So go ahead and have the guys at Premier Heating and Air, all of Reed's guys, replace the full system, replace the furnace, replace the coil, replace the outdoor unit, whether it be a heat pump or an air conditioner, so you have a match system. You don't buy a portion of a car. You don't buy a portion, the ladies don't buy a portion of an outfit. They both buy the full outfit. Get the full system.
So you're saying don't just buy the tires and a steering wheel. I tried that and it sucked. I got
Right.
nowhere. I mean, I look cool, but I mean, I was like, where am I going?
Yeah.
All right, Reed. So how does it go? And the best way is just to contact Premier. They'll go over all of this with you.
Yeah.
720-547-8009. That's 720-547-8009. PremierAirColorado.com. Reed, how receptive are people? And you'll come out for a free consultation, correct? So when you go through this for free, what kind of reception do you generally get?
Yeah, absolutely. It's 100% free consultation and estimate. And, people really like it, especially our approach, because it's like an advisory type of approach. And we're coming in and we're really kind of looking at everything, like you guys brought up, how long are you going to live in the house? We're factoring in things like that. Different kinds of insulation, windows, different things like that. What are your needs? We're even looking at your utility bills and like, what are you paying? Because a lot of this, like Tom said, is like, you have to look at it kind of like an investment, right? And it pays off pretty quickly. There's not a lot of good investments out there, but like this is one of those because you can reduce your energy use, which lowers your bill and really increase your efficiency and your comfort inside the house. So we're really kind of looking at the big picture with everything. There's also a lot of things you can do to improve like the air quality, humidification. We've done a couple things for you too with the air cleaners and different things like that. So we're really kind of looking at the entire, the home, but also what are the individual needs of everybody in the home.
How long does that in general take when you go to a home for a first time, Reed?
Yeah, I mean, it kind of depends, it usually anywhere from an hour, a couple hours, maybe even more.
Wow. For free. You'll do that for free. That's just, and your service area tends to be, where are we going here? Where are we traveling to?
Yeah, so we're mostly in the Denver metro area, but we're always expanding every day, and we'll go to most places. Just not too far like out of our radius, but we're mainly Denver metro.
Okay. All right, and that's 547 or 720-547-8009. Tom, in terms of your partnership with Premier Heating and Air, what makes it such a good relationship with you guys?
Oh boy. What makes it so great is they truly fit their name. Premier Heating and Air, they are a premier dealer. I've been in this market for 37 years. In the HVAC world, we partnered with American Standard Heating and Air Conditioning years ago, and we were always looking for the top shelf contractor. And at the time, Premier was a top shelf contractor, and we were chasing them. We were trying to get them on our team, and it took quite a bit of work. I mean, when Reed makes a commitment, he makes a solid commitment to whoever he's going to work with. So it took some doing on our part, but we finally convinced him and showed him that American Standard, being #1 in Consumer Reports for numerous years, it was a great partnership. We partnered up with Reed about 12, 13 years ago. They were a couple, 3 years in business, and we haven't even looked back. But I got to tell you, they are the greatest guys. Their guys are in here every morning, yucking it up with our fellows here at the counter, and we just got an amazing partnership, and that partnership just goes forever.
Reed, I love it, man. We're making friends. We're buddies with everybody. We're winning awards. We're getting it done. Come on, man. Ain't better than that, right, Reed?
Yep. Nothing better than that.
Yeah.
It's all about the relationships, right?
All right. It is the Premier Heating and Air Show. Again, if you want to find out about their amazing service, their incredible deals, PremierAirColorado.com. Yeah, what kind of deals you got cooking there, Reed? What's good this week?
Yeah, we still got a lot of good offers going on right now. You know, you can there's a $1,500 rebate that we're offering, and that's kind of, you know, with the manufacturer, with American Standard. We're also doing a free furnace when you purchase an AC or a heat pump. And then we do have those 0% interest options available. So one other thing too is we're doing a free solo stove with some systems that we're offering. So people are really loving that one. You know, everybody's out camping and everything right now. So, you know, you need one of those.
Where are you camping this year, Reed? What's your best Colorado camping spot?
I don't do as much as I used to, but you know, I like getting up to 11-mile area. That's probably my
Okay.
favorite. Yeah.
Well, you do some fishing there then. You must like being in a boat if you're out at 11 Mile.
Yeah. I do.
Tom, can I get you out in a tent someplace? It sounds terrible.
DMAC, my wife is not a tent gal.
She's
but
not.
we've got a hard side camper that we go camping, and we camp right on the state line between Wyoming and Colorado. We meet family up there, and her mom and stepdad get up there on Wednesday for us, and so that way they get us a darn good camping spot, and we can, you know, tool on up there on Fridays and not be stuck with all the masses.
Well, listen, man, I'm a big outdoor Colorado. I've done it all, fellas. I've done the camper, I've done the tent, I've done the backpack, one way or the other. So one thing that's incredible about our state, I'll give you a hint for technology, and I got that because of the Nest stuff, Reed, that you guys put in my home, is that we did realize we would go away or something. What a waste of money sometimes in our own home. And that was pretty awesome when we got the Nest a few years ago, Reed, to know that, oh, listen, let's turn things down. Or here's where we're really spoiled brats. We're coming back from a weekend and it's hot and we want the house to be nice and cool. Like we're timing it out like on our phones to figure out like, oh, how long does it need to run so we walk in the home and it's perfect, Reed? I mean, that's the technology you brought to my home.
Yeah, that's the convenience and comfort, you know, and you can control and kind of monitor everything wherever you're at.
Yeah, I would have never even thought of it, Tom, if it wasn't for Reed bringing it to my attention. And, you know, I'm still a moron with all that stuff, but Reed made my home so much better. It's kind of ridiculous. So this is what you get.
My wife and I were away for Memorial Weekend, and we did that exact same thing.
Yeah.
We flew out of town, and we were sitting at the airport from the place where we came from, and my wife was on her phone saying,
"Get it done.
I want it 72 in my bedroom when I get home."
Yeah.
Well, listen, man, we love talking to you guys. We love the show every Saturday morning at 7:30 right here on Altitude Sports Radio 92.5. It's the premier heating and air show. So we'll talk about it next week as we get deeper into the summer, find out what other discounts and deals, and make sure your home is just a smarter, better place to be with Premier Heating and Air, powered by American Standard. One last time, 720-547-8009, PremierAirColorado.com. Fellas, we'll talk to you next week.
All right. Looking forward to it.
All right. Thank you. This is the Premier Heating and Air Show on Altitude Sports Radio 92.5.